Yo guys, welcome back to a brand new video and another episode of my F1 2019 career mode here today for round 12 of the season for the Hungarian Grand Prix and pretty much the start of the second half of the season if you like, as we arrive here at the Hungaroring. If you guys missed the last episode, then go watch it by clicking the link in the top right hand corner of your screen guys before we jump into any spoilers. But this weekend we have no rain expected, unlike the last race in Germany where it was pretty much raining all weekend long. This one is going to be dry throughout, and also we have an upgrade on the car, and it's going to be a major engine upgrade for the ERS system. So hopefully that will now enable us to purchase some engine power upgrades at the end of this episode for the next couple of races at Spa and Monza. Also, in terms of what the upgrade means for the R&D graph compared to other teams, we're still in second place. Racing Point, Alfa Romeo and Ferrari all gaining on us a little bit, but Red Bull more than anybody pulling away and really bringing a big upgrade package here. And in the last couple of races, Red Bull have just kind of taken the dominance back and got themselves back on top. So we need to try and get some big upgrades in the car and try to push forward. So we're going to try and tackle that by jumping into practice. Now, I did practice on 108% AI, which is what I ran for the start of the weekend, and I'll get into this in a moment. It's a bit of a rant in this video, unfortunately, but you can see we struggled to get the fuel management program and we completely failed in the qualifying performance test. Other than that, we still got a relatively decent amount of points, and those will go into the R&D points bank going towards the end of this episode. But I want to talk about this real quick. So we're going to jump into qualifying now, and I jumped into qualifying with a difficulty of 108, like literally last season and the season before that. That's the difficulty I run around here. It is what works for me and what suits me. And a lot of people comment on my videos saying, why don't you do 110 at every single track, even if the lap times are glitched or, the AI are too fast. Just do it because, you have races where you're really good compared to the AI, so it's only fair that you have some bad ones. And this is why I don't do 110. I mean, this example is on 108, and even this was ridiculous. So I had a pretty decent lap in Q1 with a 14.0, my quickest lap of the weekend up until that point, and we was only 20th, and I thought to myself, okay, that's not very good. But I wanted to see the gaps, and I got back to the pit lane. We was 4 tenths off the nearest car in what was a lap that I would say at best I could take 4 tenths out of. So what I'm saying is I could do my personal best of a 13.6 and still be last. And I'm in the second best car on the grid. So I wasn't keen on it. I wasn't enjoying it. So I reloaded the session, and I reloaded it with 106% AI to have a bit more of a reasonable, pace compared to the AI. And it was much better. Even then, it still wasn't quite right because I was a 10th down on Sector 1, a 10th down on Sector 2, and I'd lose about half a second in Sector 3. As you'll see here, we're 2 tenths down on Gasly through the second sector, and it was looking like a pretty good lap, and it was a good final sector, but as we open up the RS, you'll see as we run up to the line, we are going to end up being nearly 7 tenths, or yeah, pretty much 7 tenths off, so we lost half a second to Gasly in Sector 3, but we're only P17, even on 106, I'm still getting knocked out of Q1, so I'm up against it. I did a 14.0 in my original attempt on 108. I'm on a 13.8 now, and I reckon there's a bit more time to find, but not much more. So we're going to run on board here to see if I can find that bit of time and potentially get out of Q1 here as we go towards turn 1, really throwing the car in, committing to the early apex, and it works out for us as we find a bit of lap time and improve by a tenth of a second so far. So we go towards turn 2, keeping a nice tight line if possible. I ran a bit wide, but I managed to get the car kind of stabbed into the apex at the second part of the corner and get some relatively decent traction, but we're not improving by a major amount as we now go into the start of Sector 2, throwing the car over the curb as we're only a fraction down on Pierre Gasly so far, and now going through the long right here of Sector 2, just trying to keep the patience and then get the power down and then back on the brakes once again very quickly into this right-left chicane. Really important to be aggressive and go over the curbs as we now go into this long section of lefts and rights and lefts and rights through the end of Sector 2, and this is all about car setup and momentum, and it's actually worked out okay for us as we found a bit more lap time, and we're currently about 2 tenths up on our previous best and inside 2 tenths of a second of Pierre Gasly's lap time after 2 sectors. What we've got to do now is try and hold it together through this final sector and not make a mistake, and hopefully the lap will be good enough as we go through the penultimate corner, finding a bit more lap time there, and we're 3 tenths up here now as we go to the final corner. A little bit wide on entry, but we managed to bring it back across for a decent exit and open up the RS there as we run to the line, and we are going to improve by 3 tenths of a second and get up to P13. And at the time I didn't think that would be enough, but luckily enough for us it was, as nobody else improved, and we get into Q2 in 13th place with Giovinazzi in P8, and overall the grid's extremely close around here. Pierre Gasly setting the pace there with a 13.0, and I want you guys to bear that lap time in mind because you'll see what happens in Q2. But a 13.0 from Gasly, a 13.1 from Verstappen in Q1 there as well, which was quite surprising. But in Q2, Verstappen was setting the pace, and my first attempt wasn't good. We picked up an invalidation, unfortunately for us, and it's a shame because, it was a pretty decent lap on used tyres, only a 10th off Verstappen's lap again, so it was looking pretty good. Of course, we still had to tackle the final sector, but still, it was looking okay. And I went out again on fresh rubber, but I made the exact same mistake on my final run and just ran a bit wide through the left-hander there and picked up another invalidation and strict corner cutting, ultimately costing me, and I'll pay the price. And we're not going to be able to set a lap in Q2 because we messed up both of our runs. But it's worth noting, if you look at the gaps, my original attempt in Q1 was a 0.6. That would have just got me into Q3, but that still would have been 1.5 off of first place. For reference, Gasly's in P2, he's 7/10 off top. The man on top is Verstappen. He did a 112.0 on 106. Ridiculous pace on the AI. And ultimately, it was a struggle of my qualifying. I just didn't have the pace. Simple as that. And the AI were way too quick. But guys, let's have a qualifying. A disappointing while starting 15th. But we're now going to move into the race and let's try and turn this around.
It's always wonderful to come back to the lively Hungaroring. A popular destination this, nice and close to the beautiful city of Budapest, with some exciting racing to boot. Who can forget Michael Schumacher pushing his old teammate Rubens Barrichello up towards the pit wall in 2010, or those great races of 2014 and 2015 as well. Located 12 miles northeast of the Hungarian capital Budapest, the 14 corners of the Hungaroring are steeped in history and prestige. Overtaking has always been difficult on this technical 2.7-mile circuit, but the last few years in particular have turned up some exceptional races. Let's hope we're in for another one here today. With me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Martinez. They're starting towards the back of the field today in a car that is fast, so they'll be disappointed, won't they?
It's not a nice feeling, I promise you. They've got a quick car underneath them, but they've got onto the grid today and they need a pair of binoculars to see the start lights. They'll be desperate for a good start to make up for some of that deficit.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Vettel, Bottas, Max Verstappen and Russell, Sainz, Magnussen, Kvyat and Pierre Gasly, Albon, Perez, Antonio Giovinazzi, Martinez, Hülkenberg, Norris, Lance Stroll and Kimi Raikkonen. Grosjean and Daniel Ricciardo fills the last spot on the grid, and with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Right, here we are then on the grid at the Hungaroring, starting from 14th place on the grid, given a small promotion due to penalties elsewhere, but still a long way off where we need to be. And it's a big race, we're slipping away in the title fight. Verstappen took the lead in the last race, and he looks the favourite. That car's so much better than ours at the minute, and we are struggling to hold on and keep pace with the Red Bull. And I'm confident the next couple of races. I think Spa and Monza could be a chance with the engine power upgrades to get back on level terms a little bit. But ultimately, I think, we need to try and limit the damage here today. And it's going to be tricky. I'm going to expect Verstappen to win this race, and I don't think I'll be able to beat him. Strategy is going to be key, and there's two options. We go for the 1 or the 2-stop. The 2-stop is a little bit slower. And if I were to 2-stop, it would be medium, soft. So that's the other option in my head. I'm going to see how the first stint goes, and I'll kind of judge it later on in the race and decide what my final move will be. But yeah, overall, I feel relatively confident. I think the race pace is always better than the qualifying pace. It's something I've always had in this entire game. So I'm hoping that will get me out of trouble once again. But first of all, we need to make these medium tyres work. We need to have an aggressive start, try and get loads of positions off the line, and try and have a really aggressive lap 1 and try and get to the top 10 straight away as soon as possible and take it from there. But yeah, overall, the pressure's on and we need to deliver here because the title's in the balance and it could be shifting in Max Verstappen's favour. So let's jump into it. It's time for round 12 for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Right, here we go then. We're going to try and get a good start here as we get ready for the 5 red lights. Lights out and away we go. Not a bad start. We kind of match everybody around us. We are down on straight line speed a little bit, it seems, as we go towards turn 1. I'm going to be relatively aggressive on the brakes, going down the inside of my teammate. I'm going to try and get that move. There we go, up to 13th already. Giovinazzi low kick, we're going to defend. Hold the inside line, show Giovinazzi the long way round into turn 2. We'll stay in front of him now, there we go. tucked in behind Perez. Can I try and maybe get past? I think the chicane could be an option. Someone's going a bit slow in front of us here and costing a bit of time. We're going to get right on the back of Perez. I'm going to wait, get on the switchback, try and get the power down, struggling a little bit. Down the inside of him and the Toro Rosso of Alex Albon, side by side here, but we are going to take 2 positions, picking up some oversteer on the curb, but we're up to P11, and there we go. We're the lead of the medium tyre runners now. We've overtaken all of our competitors on the same tyre. We've got the soft tyre cars in front of us now, so if we can hold pace, that'd be fantastic. If I can make some moves, even better. Pierre Gasly in front of us here in the Alpha. Let's try and get after him, but I fancy getting past some of these guys early on. I think important to really have a good start. Looks like Verstappen isn't leading, which is also a good thing for us. The longer he takes to hit the front, the better our chances are this race. So let's hope it takes him a while to get to the front of the grid, as the Ferraris are 1 and 3 in this race. I think Verstappen's probably P4. That's my guess. But so far, it's a good start. Let's try and keep it going. Okay, we're starting to get on the back of these guys now. DRS will be enabled next lap, but we are down a straight line speed, so it's going to be quite tricky to get the overtakes done. We're going to have to try and be very tricky with our overtaking.
DRS is now enabled and will be available to use when you are within 1 second of the car ahead in the DRS zone.
I've got plenty of fuel in the DRS to use, but we've got to use it tactically because there's a bit of a DRS train at the minute. There's a bit of a separation. You can see the Mercedes in front. They're kind of holding everybody up here as we run a bit wide and overcook the left front. We'll get a better exit though. But yeah, we need to try and make some progress now as it's really kicking off in front. Got to try and find a way past. I think Verstappen's up to 2nd place now. He's making progress. Perez has also made a move behind. He's trying to make progress as well. So we need to make some progress of our own. If I can just get close enough and get a good enough exit out of this right-hander, I could get a run on Gasly into the chicane. But I just struggle to get the power down and pick up the acceleration. Wasn't really close enough for a lunge there. I would have probably lost my front wing, as Gasly would have probably turned in on me there, but I've got to try and find a way past soon because the race is slipping away otherwise. I'm getting so close now. The temptation is unbelievable to go for a lunge, but I know if I'm not close enough, I'm just going to get turned in on. I think I've got a chance here though. If I can get close through this section, let's see if I can stay close with this right-hander. I'm going to pick up some dirty air, of course, like always. I don't think I'm close enough. I was going to go down the inside there. I do fancy it. They are quite early on the brakes, but again, I'm risking getting turned in on, and that's what I don't want. If I keep the pressure on, I might have a chance in the pit straight here. If I can just get a good final corner. I'm going to get some dirty air, of course, always. This is good enough. This is much closer than I have been. I might be able to have a little lunge here. Let's see. We're gaining on the brakes. How brave are we? Very brave down the inside. Gasly's still there, but we're going to go down the inside, get the position. There we go. He's coming back at us, but we're going to defend the inside. Up to P10, there we go, making some progress now. Let's try and get past Sainz, that's the move. We've got to try and be very close through the final corner to really make it work. Oh, I'll tell you what, I might have a chance here. I might be able to get that move I wanted to get last lap on Sainz. If I'm close enough, which I am. Down the inside. It's a close one, but we make it work. There we go. No contact, keeping it clean. That's 2 overtakes in a lap. That's what I'm talking about. Making good progress now. And it looks like cars are going to pit. Soft tyres starting to fade possibly on some of those cars. Magnussen in front. Let's try and get him. Looks like no leaders pit in. So just Kvyat for now. Let's try and close down Magnussen and then get the Mercedes cars. Tucked in nicely right behind Magnussen here. But we know about the racing point straight line speed, therefore it's going to be a little bit tricky this one. I'm kind of relying on the Mercedes to pit in really, and there you go, one of them does come in, which is the one I needed. We'll be able to get DRS and get really close to Magnussen here if we get a good exit, which we have done. Here we go. Magnussen does have DRS, but I think I'm close enough to have a look on the brakes. Down the inside there is contact. I ran a bit deep, but I managed to get it slowed down. Magnussen again just tried to turn in on me there, which is not surprising, but we're up to P5. Hamilton in front of us, he's probably going to pit in anyway, so let's get the hammer down and try and push. Important laps here, up to P5 now in this race. We're catching up to the leaders as well, which is good to see. Very strong pace. The lead Red Bull pits, I'm going to guess that's Verstappen, will also pick up DRS, thanks to Lewis, and Magnussen pits as well. So we're going to be left on our own pretty much, out front, with George Russell. Here we go.
Check your MFD for a new strategy option. Understood, copy that.
Right then, so the team is saying a one stop on the hards. I'm not sure what to do. Verstappen has rejoined on hard tyres, so Verstappen's going to go to the end. And he's in traffic. This is interesting and fascinating. Do I try and two-stop it and be more aggressive and try and get Verstappen on the two-stop? This is going to be a very interesting race. Verstappen will have much worse tyres than me at the end of the Grand Prix as well. Let's just push for a few laps. I've got a few laps to think about this. Right, George Russell pits. Looking at the minimap, Verstappen has to get past all the medium tyre runners, so he might be in traffic for a little while. So we've got to push here. I'm going to get the hammer down, use up my ERS, because these laps are important to get a gap to Verstappen, potentially close the gap to him as well. But Russell's also going for the one stop, so we could still go for that one stop strategy. It might still happen. It depends on how quick Verstappen clears the traffic, and I might change my mind. But these laps are important, so I need to really swell it out now. So I'm going to kind of go silent for a few laps and just get the hammer down. Personal best. Strong lap there. Let's keep that going. Another good lap. 17.6. This is good. I'm putting away about a second a lap to Perez behind. Let's keep that going. Super good pace here. The gap to Perez now up to 10 seconds. It was about 6 seconds when we got into clean air, so we've done a really good job. I've run some numbers, and pretty much I think the AI behind me, all the medium tyre runners are going to pit on lap 16. So that's lap I'm going to pit. Even though I accepted a strategy change to lap 18. Lap 16 is when all the medium tyre runners are going to clear the air for the guys behind in the faster cars to go through. So that's when we need to pit and basically make the most of this first stint without losing any time. So we've got a couple more laps to go on these. So far it's going well. We're really opening up the gap here and we're putting ourselves into contention. Just got to keep pushing as we pick up our first corner cut of the race there. Just got to keep the pace up, try and stay consistent.
We're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the hards.
Yep, we're going to pit this lap, I think. Even though it's lap 18, what the team says, I'm going to pit in. I'm not going to take the chance of the AI potentially staying out. We're just going to assume they're going to pit in this lap. So we're going to push on this in lap. Right, here we go then. Turn the engine down. Really good in lap again. Only 0.2 off my personal best. It's been a very consistent series of laps. Now we need a good stop from the pit crew, of course, and hopefully it's a quick turnover. Here we go then, into the pit box, get it all slowed down. There we go, very conservative yet aggressive entrance. There's a massive train of cars that are going through the penultimate corner. This could be close. I need the best possible stop from the boys here. A sub 2 second, a sub 1.8 would be fantastic. Here we go.
Go now.
There we go, 1.8, this could be close. We could do this. Here comes Giovinazzi.
Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
Yes, we've done it. We've done it. The overcut has paid off. Verstappen and the Ferraris and Russell all behind us. It's worked out beautifully. We rejoin in P4 and the overcut, all those laps of just going flat out, has paid off. The AI got caught in traffic and we've done it. We're on to win this race. Let's go. Let's try and get past Norris here, who is struggling on these medium tyres. Make light work of him if possible. Let's get the pressure on. I thought about it into the chicane, but we'll hang back. We'll pass him on the pit straight. Right, here we go then. Let's get past Lando, who will probably pit in. And there you go, we timed that beautifully. We're going to get released into clean air with DRS.
Antonio is in the pits. Antonio in the pits.
And now we're going to have the leaders right behind us, but now we get to go for the fast lap of the Grand Prix. So let's try and secure the point. Here we go then, through the final corner. 2 purple sectors. And I think it will be a fast lap of the Grand Prix. Here we go up to the line.
We pretty much burned off our excess fuel. We'll be back on target soon. Don't wait too long to turn the engine down.
There we go. That's what we need. Verstappen's P2, so it's a good thing the strategy worked out. There was just enough laps. We pushed hard enough and got the job done. We're now P1. Going to the end, we've got much fresher tyres than Verstappen behind. Worth noting Leclerc is on mediums, but overall, very happy with this, and I think we should have a good chance of picking up the extra point as well. It depends what Leclerc does in his final stint. But I'm liking this. I think we can secure 26 points here today.
Some information on Verstappen. They have an issue with their car. They're going to be slow.
Yes. Oh my god, yes. This is the race. What incredible timing. Verstappen's going to go backwards in this race, and we're going to probably still score maximum points here today. This could be massive for the championship. Absolutely huge. Okay, so Leclerc's pit. Looks like he's going to go for an aggressive strategy. Vettel's on hard, so it's only Leclerc who can take away the fastest lap from me. So hopefully he doesn't. He goes for mediums and he falls just short. And we can bring home 26 points.
Some information on Russell. They're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car.
Yeah, but we'll take that as well. Issues for both Red Bulls in this race. Absolutely fantastic. We're going to outscore them hopefully as a team, which is going to help us out in the constructors, even though we're quite far back. You know, it helps chip away at that gap a little bit, so hopefully Sebastian Vettel can get past him. And maybe somebody else as well.
We think we may see some rain. ETA is about 15 minutes.
Fair enough. It won't affect us, of course. At the minute, I'm driving very smoothly. I'm trying to keep gear shifts down to a minimum, so I'm using higher gears. I'm also not letting the revs run up too high, so that I can save the engine for Spa and Monza, which are the upcoming races. So I'm just cruising at the minute, and I'm still pulling away from Sebastian. The car's been fantastic in the race, really, really strong, super consistent, which has been my problem all weekend long. I couldn't find consistency. But with the race setup, the car's been so good, and I know exactly where the limits are, and it's performing so well on the tyres as well, which is really, really good. And at the minute, no Red Bulls on the podium. Is a good day for us.
Some information on Verstappen. They're retiring from the race.
Oh my days. Wow, that is perfect. On the last lap of the race, that's exactly what we wanted to hear. But guys, here we are, last lap. What a recovery. Absolutely unbelievable. The race pace has been on fire. The car's been unreal today. So much better after an absolute disastrous Friday and Saturday. This is exactly what we needed. And for the championship, this is massive. It's going to be a huge 26 points for us as we exit the final corner and we win at the Hungaroring. Get in.
You worked hard for that one. Congratulations.
Well done, Williams. Certainly showing what they're made of out there today. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
I think the key here is just the quality of the racecraft, you know. I mean, how many overtakes did they make overall? I'm sure we have a stat person keeping score somewhere, and it was fantastic to watch, wasn't it? This is a strategic sport at the end of the day, but it's always really gratifying to see close-fought battles on track. It's what all the fans are after.
Williams have put in an incredible performance out on the track today. I'm glad all the hard work of theirs has finally paid off.
Right, so here we have the final race results, and unfortunately for us, Charles Leclerc just sneaked away with the fastest lap of the Grand Prix in 5th place there, and he took it away from us. Had I known, I would have pushed and tried to go for one more, because I think I had the pace, but overall, we win the race, and it was quite comfortable in the end. Strategy on our end was absolutely on point. We avoided the traffic, and we pushed at the right times. And overall, the tyres were just on point as well. Everything was just perfect. Sebastian Vettel P2, Lewis Hamilton P3. Those guys run off the podium. Sergio Perez 4th ahead of Charles Leclerc. Then we've got Bottas, Magnussen, Gasly, Giovinazzi in P9 scoring points. Well done to him. And he's scored points, I think, in every race for Williams so far, I believe. And Russell, with car issues, only scores 1 point. Carlos Sainz misses out on the points, along with Albon, Norris, Hulkenberg, Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Kvyat, Stroll, Grosjean and Max Verstappen retires from the Grand Prix here today. In terms of what that means for the standings, we retake top spot and we're 20 points clear of Verstappen at the top of the table. Perez sitting in 3rd, Sebastian Vettel in 4th, 1 point behind Perez there. And overall, it's looking pretty damn good for us in terms of the Drivers' Championship. In terms of the Constructors, we closed the gap to Red Bull down to 43 points. And Ferrari have followed us as well. They're only 50 points behind Red Bull and 7 points behind us. So it's got a lot closer. And we're now pretty much a 1-2 finish behind Red Bull, which is 43 points. That's what a 1-2 is. And it's a little bit more on the cards now. If the car improves correctly and the upgrades work as expected, we could potentially make a challenge here, because Giovinazzi seems to be scoring points at the moment, which is good to see. But guys, that is it for the race here today at Hungary. And overall, a fantastic day at the office. But we're now going to move into the laptop and put some upgrades onto the car for the next couple of races at Spa and Monza.
You took the top points today. Was it a comfortable win? Well, looks like your luck has changed. Things went a lot better than last weekend, didn't they? Did you struggle to get through all that traffic today? You're leading the championship. Are you happy to be there or feeling the pressure? Great. Well, that's everything.
Okay, so here we are then on the laptop, and as you can see on the right hand side, we currently have an upgrade on the way, and it is a ultimate weight redistribution upgrade for the chassis, and that is going to arrive in the Italian Grand Prix in 2 races time. So in the meantime, we need to improve, and there is one key area we need to improve, and that is the power unit, the engine power more specifically. So we're going to get the first of the engine power upgrades on the car for the next race in Belgium, and we've still got 1,700 points to spend, so I could definitely invest elsewhere if I can afford it. If we look at the aerodynamics here, we could afford one of these, to be fair, so I might try and get one, and I might go for this front downforce one and try and improve that. So we'll slap that on the car as well, because we may as well, and then with the points that we have in the next episode, we'll purchase the next engine power upgrade, which will be this one here, and those two will hopefully make a bit of a difference. We're going to Spa and Monza, but yeah guys, that is going to be it for this episode of Career Mode. If you guys enjoyed today's video, drop a like, and also get subscribed if you are new, guys, for daily Formula 1 content, and also turn on notifications so don't miss any videos from me, and also finally check out these 2 videos on your screen if you have missed them. But other than that guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next episode very soon. But until then, it's goodbye from me.